like to introduce you to the Mosquito project, a commercially viable parlor pistol, percussion cap, fires these little babies using these little babies. My motivation for making this thing is primarily that it's a neat little hobby. Anyone who has played with airsoft, pellet guns, low-level plinking knows that it's a fun little hobby to shoot things, and this is a form of that that is much underappreciated. I think it's a lot of fun. As you'll see in the video that I'm going to have sort of playing in between this with the audio clips and all that, this model is linear. It's 3D printed, obviously. I've made it. It takes a couple of tries, 17 in this case, because of the way the percussion cap sat on the kludged together little percussion cap nipple and barrel combo that I had to make on a drill press, tipped over on its side, and use it like a lathe. Obviously, if I had a proper lathe, it would have been perfect, but you'd use the tools you have. Also, the rubber on this is a pair of produce elastics. This one was from a kohlrabi. So obviously the production models will have some sort of proper banding designed for this. I'm thinking TheraBand gold or silver would be the best option, and the kit would come with enough rubber to make 1 or 2 sets. Also enough, of course, for the trigger retention rubber to make at least 1 and then a couple of spares. Obviously, that would all be included in the kit with full instructions. Probably pre-cut bands, might actually be a good idea, because not everyone has a proper cutter. And this is designed to be an entry-level piece into the hobby. Currently, the entry-level pieces are $225 online, and that's the thing itself, a box to put it in, and a couple of caps to go with it. So it's not a, it is by no means a complete, set. It's, it is a set, but it's by no means a complete thing. It's certainly not worth $225 just for the opportunity of trying the hobby. And they're all basically just replicas, and I'll put a picture up. They're all basically just replicas or stylized versions of the original parlor pistol. No one's come up with anything new in over a century. Until this. This is a linear slide action on a dovetail rail, and it just goes straight back into the stationary firing surface, which will also be machined by machine on a lathe for a perfect finish. So this one's not perfect. That's another reason it takes a while to set off. If I had those perfectly made and the proper rubber, it would go off the first time every time. And as you can see from the seams here, I've been modifying this one. I'm still putting the polish on the exact shape and size and format of this, but the mechanics are there and they are functional. So, what I need the $5,000 for, first and foremost, is I need to patent this system as thoroughly as possible, and I need to have a lawyer do that. I could, theoretically, do it by myself for $2,000, all things considered, but it's, I want to make sure it gets done properly so I don't get someone swooping in, stealing my designs, patenting it, and then sticking it on a shelf forever. I want this to be a commercial product. I want this to be, I want to see this in hardware stores, in their airgun section. I want to see these. So yeah, this particular campaign, $5,000, is mostly so that I can patent this system and have that patent ready to go. I also need a little bit of money from that to finish the polish. I'd like to get some more materials for the 3D printer. I want to get that proper TheraBand gold rubber. I would like to get access to a lathe so I can make a proper nipple and barrel assembly, as well as a proper firing pin assembly. That's a fringe goal. Like, if I have enough money left over to do that, then I'll do that. But in all likelihood, by the time I get the proper patent, I will either have enough support to start a second campaign to make a medium-sized production run of these and just retail those directly, or to license the design and patents and all that to an existing manufacturer that's already tooled to make stuff like that, which would be a lot easier to do for me, but there's no guarantee that any of them will be interested in actually manufacturing them. So, if I get an offer to just buy the patent outright, I don't care how much they're offering me for it, I'm not going to take it unless there's a proviso that they will be manufacturing it. I'm not inventing things to have them shelved. I want this to be a thing that people buy, because it's a real shame that if you want to get into this hobby, you either have to design one yourself and make it yourself, which not everyone is even remotely prepared to do, or you can spend $225 just for a starter kit and then pay for more of these, if you can find them. It took me months to actually find out a place in Sudbury that carries these. Looking back, I should have known, but 20/20 hindsight. But we can make these industrial injection molded plastic, composite plastic probably, with Chicago style inset screws at key points, one up here, one down here, this end, and then one maybe here and one down here somewhere, something like that. And of course the slide setup here is injection molded. The barrel and nipple assembly will be machine made on an automatic lathe. Will be more than sufficient to do that. And same with the firing pin here, automatic machine lathe. So that can be mass produced and retailed for about $50 Canadian altogether as a kit. If you want it pre-assembled, that'll probably end up being another $25 on top of that. So even if you get them in pre-assembled, it's $75-ish retail. It's still significantly cheaper than anything else available today. And if you get into this and you really like this, and this is your entry-level piece, and you really want to get into the hobby, then you can spend $225 on the existing available models if you really want to, because you had the taste of this hobby at a reasonable price. There is no reason for this hobby to be that expensive to get into. What if you don't like it? You've spent $225 and you don't like it. What are you going to do with that? You can't return it. You can't return it. So, this way, at most, you've gotten into this hobby for $75. If it's not for you, oh well, $75 down the hole. It's not $225 plus shipping down the hole. I think very few people will actually find that they don't like the hobby, but I certainly have never had $225 to spend on something that I'm not sure if I'll be into or not. I have had $50 to spend on something that I'm not sure I'll be into or not. I've never had $225 to spend on that. So this is a viable option if you want to get into that hobby, but you're not ready to spend $200 plus. That's the whole point of this. Thank you for watching, and thank you for your potential donations. Adieu.